Happy Friday. Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show. Guys, shout out to OG's Brands, the official sponsor of Flavoring Fridays. Head on over to ogsbrands.com to see their full lineup, including their two newest gummies, the OG's Naturals and the Big OGs, and find out where you can purchase. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today on a Friday. I'm Anthony Totri, this guy over here, usually wearing a big hat. Got a little hat on today. That is Erik Ruby.
Yeah, he is.
We got, that's the Citronaut today. The Citronaut.
I don't play around, chat. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something.
No, that's fair. That's fair. It's a great shirt. Absolute great shirt.
It is an unbelievable shirt. No free ads, but the place I got it from, super comfortable. I'm not going to say who it was because no free ads. It's great. It's a fantastic shirt. So if you guys want to, get your Citronaut on.
Get your Citronaut
Go
on?
ahead.
Wow, love that. That guy right there, that's Shane Dieffenbach. We got Leah Merrill behind the Mac making all the magic happen today. Guys, do us a solid. Before we get into Bobby Hurley and Arizona State basketball, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and wherever you get your podcasts, drop a 5-star review. If you're watching on YouTube, you're in the right place. If you're watching on Twitter, do us a solid, head on over to the YouTube.
You're in the wrong place.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't say you were in the wrong place.
But implying that there is a wrong, or saying that there's a right place implies that there's a wrong place. Where's the wrong place? If you're like scaling the building and watching the show from the window, that's probably the wrong place.
Well, there's not an exact location, right?
Yeah.
For it to be a right place.
But
versus a wrong
there
place.
Could be an exact location.
I feel like this is getting way too deep.
Yeah,
I feel
Friday.
like
It's time
right
for
place, wrong time.
It's time for shenanigans.
So we shall.
I see we're already getting started off on the right foot with the first comment of the day. Why don't we just go ahead and bring that right up here?
Yeah,
Jay saying, if Hurley thinks that buying recruits from documentary money will make him a good coach, he's in for a rude awakening. You don't really know exactly the ins and outs of what you're talking about. Exactly. I can tell. As we like to say, he's not grinding tape.
No, he's not. No. You got to watch the tape, man. You got to watch the tape.
I mean, look, there has been some questions about the offense in the past.
Yeah.
But there also has been some questions about the talent in the past and how much talent he's able to get on the roster. You're in for a rude awakening if you don't think this is going to be a very talented roster. And in terms of his coaching ability, I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also just him going out and being more active in the NIL space and doing the documentary doesn't mean he's like, oh, don't got to coach anymore.
Yeah.
I'm good. Woohoo. Like, no, if anything, that's going to inspire him to, not that he wasn't locked in before, but like he's even said, whether it's in the videos that we're going to play for you guys today or from Craig Morgan's article from a couple weeks ago, that he's reinvigorated with the Big 12 and kind of with this offseason. So if anything, he's going to be coming back knowing he has to do more and not just resting on his laurels.
Yeah, this team looks completely different than any Arizona State team that we have seen under Bobby Hurley. Even from, you could take it in a bunch of different ways, the level of talent, the size of some of the players on this team, the mix between transfers and true freshmen that will play and contribute on this team. This is completely different, and it's kind of fitting, right? You have a completely new roster, a completely new team headed into a completely new conference. We were out at Section 7 this morning. Ironically enough, Papa Yormark was out there himself.
Big Daddy Yormark.
He was eating some fruit and messing around on his iPad. What? It's the truth.
Okay. Yeah. He was okay.
He was Big Daddy Yormark an iPad kid?
Okay, stop it.
Yeah.
He was having a snack and working.
Yeah, but you got to be specific.
You actually don't, and you shouldn't.
Why?
Because that's weird.
How is it weird?
Well, I was watching what Brett Yormark was eating today.
I was walking and I looked over. He was eating. There was grapes in it. There was watermelon. There was all sorts. I think he was drinking water.
Have seeds in them, Big Daddy Yormark?
I couldn't tell.
Was it a fruit salad?
It was more like a fruit cup. More like a fruit cup at Section 7. But I'm sure he wasn't there just for the fruit, right? Section 7, great fruit. No. So we were there this morning.
Weird guy.
Obviously. Look, if you haven't ever been to Section 7, it's a pretty cool environment.
It's a very cool environment.
For Arizona high school basketball, and not just for Arizona kids, but just the entirety of college basketball comes together for this tournament. There are a lot of high-profile coaches. Obviously, you have Commissioner Yormark there. Bobby Hurley was there. Tommy Lloyd's going to be there tomorrow. So a lot of really, really cool stuff. If you haven't been, go check it out. But Shane, you and I were there this morning, got the chance to talk to Bobby. What'd you notice? We'll obviously get into the clips and the sound from him, but just his demeanor seemed a little different today.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew that this offseason was going to be different by the way he ended last offseason.
Yeah.
You know, there were he was pretty hard on himself, hard on the team, and they, the end of their season kind of left a bad taste in their mouth to going into the offseason. And obviously we saw him take charge and change what's going on here. And, I think that a lot of it has to do with the school supporting him and the program more. But I think it also has a lot to do with him just busting his ass, not only on the recruiting trail and the transfer portal like he always has, but also in the NIL space. And and it's not that he had never realized it, because he knows he needs to get support of people to, progress in the world that is college basketball now. But it seems that he had more of an emphasis this year on really doing it himself. He said today that he reached out to a ton of people personally to get support, to get this program back on the right track. And obviously they were successful in that because of the 2 5-star recruits, the big additions in the transfer portal. And I think we're going to see even more come. And I'm not talking about players, but some good news coming in terms of what this program has for its future. The docuseries should be exciting. The brand of ASU basketball should be exciting. Going into the Big 12 should be exciting. So I think that overall, how can you not be excited about the future of this program if you're the head coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and he was rejuvenated from his time off, and he's getting back into ball hours because Bobby seems like the type of guy who wants to come back from vacation.
Yeah.
He's gone for 6 days. He's like, okay, I want to work now.
Yeah. By day 3, he's bored.
Yeah. It's time to, where's the ball and where's the basket?
Where's the ball? Where's the basket?
Let's play basketball. So it also seemed like he was excited from the first week of their summer program that they got started this week.
Yeah, they completed the first week, like you said, of their summer workouts. And look, there's a lot to break down from what Coach Hurley had to say today. For me, I think the biggest takeaway, and I think everybody could get a good idea of it, but his emphasis that the freshmen were going to play.
Yeah.
That these guys are certainly going to be impact players that help Arizona State win now. And he almost gave like a little idea, or I guess pulling back the curtain into how he built this roster with the idea of, okay, we've got 3 really talented freshmen that are going to come in, they're going to contribute, and we're going to surround those guys who have played college basketball before, help set them up to be successful in their first year at Arizona State.
Yeah, and that's what you want, because you're looking at least one of those freshmen who has to have another year of eligibility in Jayden Quaintance, and you want to create an environment around them that makes Jayden want to stay here. And for some reason, Sanon's goal of being one and done doesn't come to fruition, and he needs another year, or the same thing with Amir Ali. You want them to look at ASU as a place where they can see themselves growing and they can feel comfortable, right? And moving to the Big 12 and having all this veteran talent around them and different types of talent as well, to where one person's skill set isn't so necessary that they're going to be overtapped, right?
Yeah.
Like all of that can play into getting the most out of some really young, extremely talented players. And I like something that Glenn said in the chat, said, got to give Hurley credit looking at adversity head on and just rolled up his sleeve with no excuses. I mean, there was a lot going on for this program, right? Like you come off a really bad season, lots of players moving, you're moving to an entirely different conference, and you have to get your NIL stuff back on the map. And all of that falls really on his shoulders.
Yeah.
And in just a matter of a couple of months, everybody's perspective of this program has, if not completely done a 180, gotten close to that.
Yeah. I still blame I still blame COVID, but also the break in December, especially after that COVID season. It really just kind of threw everything off, because this program was so on the up and up, and the Josh Christopher commitment, and then that season didn't count really. There was no tournament. They would have made the tournament that year. But the COVID games and the break in December during that COVID year just kind of screwed everything. And I think they felt the impact of that for a while. But Bobby's never been a guy to use excuses. He's never been a guy to say, well, this isn't up to speed, so I can't do my job correctly. That's never who he is. And I think the only like thing that could be viewed as a commitment is or an excuse is his stubbornness. I think he's so stubborn and he wanted so badly to succeed in his way, and in a good way. You know, like it's not.
He believes in what he does.
Yeah, and so it's exciting to see that it's, you know, he is adapting that with what the future of college sports is looking like. And so we talked to him today about what this offseason's been like.
Yeah.
And, you know, I opened up the question with the, like, ASU has 2 5-stars. It's something that fans aren't used to. What has it been like for you? Was it different for you? And this was his answer about the 2 5-stars.
It's been a lot of fun. It was you know, obviously a lot of work on a lot of different levels, and a lot of people helped us, you know, put us in a position to get after it on the recruiting trail and accomplish what we've been able to accomplish. And you know, the school has made an unbelievable commitment to prioritizing basketball. I've had great conversations with Dr. Crow. Met with him yesterday. Jim Rund has been outstanding. In the transition until, you know, Graham has now taken the reins, and he and I have already spoken, and he's been very clear about, you know, how important basketball and football, men's basketball, football, women's basketball are to an athletic department, and so we're trying to run with that. We're getting great, you know, donor support, you know, on the NIL front, which I think is setting us up to be in a good position headed to the Big 12.
I love that bite simply because he mentions the 5 stars, and then we talk about the idea that this is going to be a different era of Arizona State basketball, right? Moving to the Big 12, you're starting to get 5-star guys, pulling guys from your rival. Like it is a new and exciting season, but maybe even more so about the longevity of what Hurley was talking about, as it seems like everybody's in alignment now.
Yeah.
Right? Like you've got an administration, whether that be Dr. Crow, whether that be Jim Rund, whether that be Graham Rossini, that they're all kind of on the same page here, that Arizona State basketball can be a serious contender in trying to help Arizona State athletics as a whole reach its goals.
Yeah, and there is no longevity in what's going on for the last couple of months just through Bobby Hurley alone.
Yeah.
Right? Like he can do and take stuff into his own hands, which I'm sure he has, but also I don't think he would be this good if he didn't have backing from the university as well. And when we've talked to Graham, whether it was you guys being out there when he was first officially introduced or whether he was on the podcast, he made it very clear that this university wants to invest in their athletic programs. And I know a lot of people will kind of rebut on that, especially when it comes to Michael Crow and be like, no. But I don't think we're looking at the team that we're looking at right now if it's just Bobby Hurley. And obviously he's the spearhead. He's the guy who's going to go out and take the lead, but you need to have so much behind you, not just in forms of money, but just in forms of different types of support in order to build a winner this year. And the last thing you want is, hey, we brought 2 5-stars in this year. We got a really good transfer portal class, and now we don't have the infrastructure to keep this going for a couple more years. Our fans got excited, and we lost all that momentum. And so I think they understand that if they can capitalize right now on that initial movement, that 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, like it's not going to be a massive project to overhaul ASU men's basketball. It should just be continuing what they've been building upon.
It's not just the different like modes of support. It's not just the different resources. It's the different pitches that you give to guys. And Bobby, one thing he said, I asked him about his, you know, how much of a draw was the docuseries, and his answer was it was a good amount. Like it helps a lot, especially because they can, you know, start to build their own brand, and and it's exciting. But like, so was this, so was that, so was back. Like why I wanted to coach at Arizona State. So was, you know, NIL has a big part of it. So it's important to not just have a couple streams where you can, you know, pick from. It's important to have a bunch of them, and Bobby has that. You know, the docuseries sounds like it's going to be a big part. We should have more details on that soon. The donor support has been ridiculous this year, and you add on, you know, just the buzz and going into the Big 12, he said was a big part of it. So that was really exciting to hear from Bobby, that there are multiple reasons why to come to Arizona State.
Yeah.
And it's good that one of them is a selling point on the actual school.
Yeah. And I think it's, again, when we talk about Arizona State basketball as a whole, and I know there's fans out there that are certainly scarred from previous seasons, right? In terms of, oh, there's excitement. We got some new guys. Like this could be the year, right? But I feel like, again, we have to, and we've already said it, but sit here and truly acknowledge, like, you've never seen a team like this at Arizona State. You've never seen the highest rated recruit in program history until now with Jayden Quaintance, right? With another 5-star and a 4-star in Amir Ali, who, like Hurley said, is going to see the court this season. He's going to be a big part of what Arizona State does. And I do want to talk a little bit more about the move to the Big 12, and then we'll get into the non-conference schedule and that type of stuff, because in years past, I think there has been, specifically when we're talking transfer portal era, right, when it comes to Hurley's teams, of this non-conference schedule and now the Big 12, where it's like, okay, Arizona State, they've got one of two recipes for a season. Either they are really hot in non-conference play and they falter in conference play, or maybe they start off a little rocky in non-conference play, build some chemistry, and then go on a little bit of a streak in conference play. But I think there were people out there maybe expecting that heading into the Big 12, maybe Bobby Hurley, maybe Arizona State would lighten up their non-conference schedule. That doesn't sound like the case at all.
No, and it never has been like that. They've never lightened up on their non-con. Bobby loves these type of moments because now that they're in the Big 12, they're playing that already. Yeah. So exactly as you said, like now maybe, oh yeah, we have all of these games where we can rise in the net. We can play some cupcakes and warm up a little bit. He doesn't care about that. And he touched on that and what it's like going into the Big 12 and scheduling it. Yeah. And this is what he had to say.
I like, again, our construction right now. And I got away from, I think we had an inability to shoot, at many different levels last year. Threes, free throws. We had a hard time scoring. It was, so we brought in a lot of guys that are capable of putting the ball in the basket. And I think some of my best teams I've had have been able to score and have been able to get up and down and play at a good pace. So I think we brought in guys that fit that.
And that's exciting because this was something we've talked about a lot on the show, something that the drum I've been beating. I asked him, does he feel like his teams, like the style of his teams translates well going into the Big 12? I said yes. Like they play physical. They're good defensively.
They run.
And that the thing he mentioned in the latter half of that bite was that they can get up and down the floor. And that should be exciting for ASU fans. Not only that, but the part where he has realized that, hey, I know our teams in the past haven't been able to score very well. I recognize that. They have guys that can put the ball in the basket. One bite that we don't have is him talking about Austin Nunez and how much he's grown physically and just as a player. You wouldn't bring a guy like him in if you don't think he can score. We know he could score, but we also know he can compete. We know Sanon is a scorer at all three levels. We know Quaintance has offensive ability for a 16-year-old. We know that BJ Freeman and Alston Mason were 18 points per game scorers, which we'll get into in a little bit.
And don't forget Adam Miller.
And obviously the return of Adam Miller, who is a bucket in himself. Bobby recognizes their deficiencies, and that's something that's good to hear as a fan because you want your coach to realize what the problem is.
Yeah, I think that for me was the biggest part of that bite, right? Is that there is acknowledgement that this team wasn't very good offensively last season. And I think for, like you said, a lot of fans, it helps to hear that, knowing that your head coach sees the problem, acknowledges the problem, in this offseason targeted several players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Whether that be in the portal or in the recruitment process to try and resolve those issues offensively. Now, again, the same way we talk about football in the class of 2025 recruiting, right? Like, you can get the guys in the building. That's half the battle. The other half is you got to find a way to get some chemistry, some synergy, and then actually find a way to fix that problem.
And it might take a little bit of time for all of the scoring talent to gel in the right way. I think that's a blessing and a curse. I mean, you can probably look at about 10 players that can contribute something on offense, and a lot of them come in different types and different packages. Like you talk about Sanon being a pure scorer, a pure shooter, Quaintance with his inside presence, Adam Miller also a shooter, Alston Mason can do a lot off the bounce, especially really deep from three. BJ Freeman does just a little bit of everything. Bashir Jihad does a little bit of everything as well. Like, you have so many different ways that maybe game 1, game 2, game 3, you might not see it flow, but I think it'll get to a point where it's all just going to click. And Tom in the chat says, great players make great coaches. And while I don't think it's just a one-way street, Like it is two ways, right? Like great coaches get the most out of really good players and maybe elevate them to great players. I do think that like you're at a certain disadvantage when you have a roster like ASU had last year. And that's not like breaking news or some crazy insight. I mean, you watch them play and it's like there's so much missing from what you would want from a complete all-around basketball team, especially offensively. Yeah. And that massive jump is going to unlock Bobby, not only just to unlock Bobby, not only just to like work within the types of schemes and the game plans that he's had before and the type of offenses that he ran, but he's probably going to be a little bit, more excited to dabble in some new different sets and new different looks because he has the talent that he can look at and say, you know what, I trust you to at least try it. And when you go and you play in a conference where every single team is going to be an absolute battle, you can't just rely on the same thing. You can't just have one game plan. You can't be predictable.
Yeah.
And so, I'm hoping to see and I'm expecting to see from him a lot more of a diverse game plan with the diverse talent, especially offensively, that he has built.
Yeah, Tom says they need to travel during the summer and play together. So last year they went to France, and they actually went to Greece also. They went to Europe just in general, and played in some games. I haven't heard anything about it this year. I don't know if they're going to. So if you think that was the fix, then it wasn't clearly from last year. I think this team's going to be close. They're all together already. A lot of them are together already, and it's good to see how excited he is. And another person he's really excited about is Sean Phillips. They said they were doing their athletics testing and just seeing where they're at physically from where they were last year. Said Sean Phillips was like he could touch literally every single thing on the vertical test. And he also referenced that, hey guys, he's only 19 years old. So people expecting to see a big jump out of Sean Phillips, literally and figuratively, I think you will.
I think that is one of the most underrated players on this team.
Not even underrated. That is the biggest X factor on this team, I think. If Sean Phillips can take the jump that Sean Phillips should take this year after playing consistently in a Power 5 school or at a Power 5 school, it's going to be a difference maker because you already have a top 10 to 15 center in the country potentially in Jayden Quaintance if he can be as good as we think he can be.
Yeah.
If Sean Phillips is really good, what do you even do with those two guys? Do you just have like the center advantage 40 minutes a game? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing would make me happier than to be able to consistently look at Sean Phillips and know what he's going to bring night in, night out. The question has never been his athleticism, right? Yeah. It's never been his build. I remember when he transferred here, you're watching videos of him throwing down windmill dunks and everything and how exciting that is. And maybe having somebody like a Jayden Quaintance coming in who is also young but highly touted, very skilled as well, will kind of push him to say, okay, I'm going to lock in a little bit more, because that's what was missing for me was how are you using that physical ability? And him being so young, of course, he can change that and he can do that. And if that's something that he gets down in practice and he can get down in games as well, like you guys said, you're looking at two different centers and you're rotating it in. They're both dominant, but also in different ways. Like Quaintance isn't somebody who's going to throw down a windmill dunk. I mean, he probably could, but that's not really his game. Like Sean Phillips is, I'm going to touch the top of the backboard and hold on to it. And so having somebody who commands that much attention and will wear the opposing centers out in Quaintance, and then, he's checking out who's coming in, rim runner, 7-footer, dude that can fly, and who's using his body the right way, that is the absolute recipe for success.
I think both of them are actually pretty similar in their games. I think they're both freak athletes. Jayden Quaintance can do a windmill dunk.
I'm sure he can.
He's a freak athlete as well. But you're right. I mean, they do bring different things in terms of their like how they actually play in the post. But I would hope that Phillips, adapts more of a back to the basket game this year. And as I said when Quaintance committed, it's weird the type of centers that you don't really know what you're getting out of a high school center. They're all so different now. But I think one thing that is kind of slowly slipping away is a true back to the basket game. Mm-hmm. And so I'm hoping that they can get that. But this hasn't just been a Sean Phillips problem. This has been an Arizona State problem with big men. There's never been good, consistent big man play.
There hasn't really been
under
big
Bobby
men.
Hurley. Like
there's been tall men.
Yeah, there's been tall guys. We've talked about it in the past. I think Romello White was the only true consistent big guy, and he was 6'8".
Yeah.
Who knows? Is size an advantage in pickleball?
Honestly, no, it's not.
Is it a factor?
I think it's definitely a factor.
No, I'm going to be honest. I don't think it was.
Pickleball?
I don't think it was. We had an event at Chicken and Pickle last night, a trivia event. If you guys came, was absolutely awesome. Hosted by the one, the only Derek Montilla. I got plenty of booze.
So many booze
because of some of the Arizona State questions. It is what it is.
They were so bad.
It was a great evening. Okay. Great food. The chicken and waffles that you ordered.
Oh,
dude, I sat down and looked at those, and my mouth was literally watering.
It's so good, and you know what? They were so busy, and it still came super fast. Yeah. And you're like, oh, it came fast, and I already knew the food was good. But if I had been there for the first time, I was like, came fast. It's going to be that good. I sat next to Gerald, and Gerald can attest. That thing was gone in like 3 minutes, and it was a really massive plate of chicken and waffles.
The pimento chicken sandwich was unbelievable. All their food is great. The vibes are great, but they also allow you to play pickleball into the wee hours of the night. Yeah,
literally. So after the event, me, Michaela, Damon, and Flex played pickleball for about 3 hours till they kicked us out.
You got to want to be there. You're all the way out on the west side. You don't live near there.
No, I know.
It is 11 p.m. on a work night.
It was
on
fun.
A school night.
It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. The hours just kind of escaped us. It was that much fun. You guys can have that much fun
at
a really affordable price at Chicken and Pickle.
Did you win?
Guys, head to chickenandpickle.com to see all the fun you can have at their Glendale location. All I'm going to say is me and Damon, we're going to get back in the gym. And, we've got to be better against Michaela and Flex.
You and Damon lost to... Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Talk to Damon about it. Talk to Damon about it.
Wow, that's disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Right? You win some, you lose some. Get back in the gym, and you find a way to get better.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you need to maybe decompress after a loss, maybe it's just racking your brain and you can't sleep, I would love to recommend our friends over at OG's to help you out. It is a Flavoring Friday, and we love our friends over at OG's. And not only do they have gummies specifically help people to fall asleep, which I do need. I have such a hard time falling asleep, and I did use OG's sleep before I even started working.
Yeah, you look like the type of guy that would have trouble sleeping.
Dude, my brain does not turn off, right? But maybe you're somebody who wants to take a gummy and not feel super slowed down. Well, they have that as well. Or maybe you want to mix it with some CBD because you get a little bit of anxiety when you take some gummies. Well, they have smaller versions. They have bigger versions, stuff with CBD as well. They really have everything. And on top of all of it, they got the OG's Naturals and the Big OG's, their two newest products. The Naturals, Vegans Gummies. The Big OG's is, yes, a bigger gummy, but perforated in 10 little slices. And in whole, it is 100 milligrams of THC instead of their usual 10 milligrams. On top of all of this, fantastic flavor. They taste so good, just like regular candy. I know, maybe there was a time where you would eat an edible and you could taste that there was something different there. Not with OG's. And if you want to learn more about OG's and where you can find them, head on over to ogsbrands.com or follow them at OG's Brands on social media. Plus, you must be 21 or over to enjoy, and please, please, please enjoy responsibly.
Super excited for not just the basketball season, but selfishly our coverage of the basketball season. I can't wait to get back to the Bobby board.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get back.
The Bobby board was grim last season.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
You missed a good year for the Bobby board.
I missed a good year to not cover ASU sports in general. But I think that ASU sports, I think that also ASU sports also needed me.
Yeah,
and so I think
that's what it was.
I'm going to do my part this year.
Yeah, that's all we can ask. Yeah. To be honest,
and I think I've already latched on to one of my favorite players, as I've made it very clear on the show that I have, and I'm already super excited to talk about his 20 points scoring performances.
Yeah,
and that's a guy like BJ Freeman who's going to bring a ton to this team. As I've said before, guys, I was so excited about these transfers in this roster before they got the second 5-star.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, honestly, before they got the first 5-star, honestly.
Well,
we were excited. We were excited.
I was excited. I was excited. Yeah, I was excited about. I just didn't know how the roster was going to fill out, and I knew it was going to fill out. I just didn't know how it was, and boy, did it fill out. But it started with the 2 4-stars and BJ Freeman and Alston Mason. BJ Freeman from Milwaukee, Alston Mason from Missouri State. There's a lot of things to be excited about with these two guys, and I asked Bobby what he thinks about them and what he saw in them to bring them into ASU, and that's what he had to say.
Just they've been super productive, both those guys, at mid-major level, but I coached at that level, and I've been in those leagues to know that the very best players in those conferences, translate very well to a power conference level, and I'm already seeing that workouts.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see him already excited about them within the first couple of days of workouts. But like he said that he knows guys like them who score in the high teens, almost 20 points a game in mid-majors, translate well to Power 4. It's hard to say now. To Power 5 level. I'm going to continue to say it because those two schools still matter. The Power 5 level, and he knows that because he's coached that.
Yeah,
he's coached those type of guys before at Buffalo. Yeah, so it was good to share that excitement with Bobby.
Not even just coaching him at Buffalo, but every year there's a guy, a transfer that he's brought in, whether it's from a major conference or somebody that's just kind of under the radar, right? You go back to even Marion Jackson. When Marion Jackson transferred here, I know you were excited about him. He had his moments. You look back to the Cambridge brothers, Warren Washington. Like every year there's been at least one transfer that comes to Arizona State that people are maybe not necessarily overhyped about. They don't know what they're going to get because he's coming from a different team, a different program, whatever. And they end up just fitting beautifully into the roster. And now that you have in theory and on paper, a complete roster, it sounds like this is going to be, again, on paper, one of the most competitive Arizona State basketball teams that we've seen.
And we've said it before. You needed that to come in to go into the Big 12.
Yeah.
Obviously, like this team going into a Pac-12 season last year would be at the top of the preseason rankings. It'd be a top 3-4 team, obviously. Yeah. That's not the case in the Big 12 because of the competition, but he knows that. Hence the, ridiculous roster. But it's also the excitement that goes with going into the Big 12, and that helps you recruit some guys too. So this shouldn't end.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about guys that we haven't even listed who have come in from smaller schools, like Alonzo Verge came in and was just an absolute bucket. And I think at the end of the day, in kind of modern athletics, I know before it was like, okay, you play at a Power 5, you play at a big school. It's very different. And I think with basketball, there are so many guys who just haven't found that right situation, or they're in a good situation where they're being used a lot and they could put up good numbers. Like that stuff, I don't think Alston Mason's going to come in and match his line completely. I don't think BJ Freeman's going to come in and match his line completely.
But you don't need him to.
No, but those skills are 100% transferable. Now it's on them to make sure that they can go in and have that impact. But the scoring, the passing, the defense, even though it's not on, a Big 12 level, those are still skills that you can use and I'm sure will be used on this massive stage.
College basketball has the smallest gap between like high mid-majors, low mid-majors, Power 5, top end. Like that's why you see so many upsets. That's why you see so much parity. And it's not because the talent isn't as good and there's not a wide enough gap, but it's because of the physical aspect of the game. Like Doug Edert can just have the most ridiculous performance from 3 for 2 weeks in his basketball career, and take the Peacocks to the Elite 8.
I think so.
Yeah, Elite 8.
Which is crazy.
And then transfer to somewhere
nothing.
Another mid-major and do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like that's why college basketball is so fun. That's why I love it so much. So I do think yes, the talent gap is smaller and it might not translate, or it can translate a lot. But I also think that I don't think you lose a step with a guy like BJ Freeman because of the way he plays basketball. We've talked about it ad nauseum, but the dude just like is patient and he knows how to draw contact. And in a conference like the Big 12, where they're gonna make you play to their pace, you go into fog, you go into the field house, and they're gonna try to run you. They're gonna try to press. Like BJ Freeman is smart enough to slow it down, and Bobby seeks those type of guys who have had experience playing. And we already saw it at the highest stage. We saw BJ Freeman go into Providence and drop 30 points. It's nothing new to them. We saw Alston Mason compete in a weirdly talented Missouri Valley Conference that was really good. So I don't expect them to lose that much of a step.
I'm so damn excited for college basketball.
Dude.
I was saying it when we were out there at Section 7 watching these high schoolers play basketball. I'm like, I just can't wait for like sports to be back.
Yeah.
Like basketball, football, give me hockey, give me all of it, to be honest.
We're like, 70, 69 days away from kickoff?
I might be 69 days from kickoff. Nice. Totally lost my train of thought. Sorry.
I'll get you back on track.
Thank you.
Look, there's a lot of things to be excited about, but one of the biggest things to be excited about is, what this roster is going to look like as a whole going into the Big 12, and Bobby spoke on that when we talked about it, what this roster was going to look like, and that's what he had to say.
I like, again, our construction right now, and I got away from, I think we had an inability to shoot, at many different levels last year, threes, free throws. We had a hard time scoring. It was, so we brought in a lot of.
We already played that one.
Yeah, we did play that one. So I think we played that bite when we were talking about the non-conference.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's my bad, everyone.
You're good.
All good.
You're good. Leah's a little rusty.
There's a lot happening in the hockey world right now, so I apologize.
What we didn't talk about was what you touched on earlier in the show about the scheduling and what he's going to do with non-con. So this is what Bobby had to say about the schedule and how he's going to prepare. Oh, well, never mind. We might not have it, but
I can get it ready.
Posted
Sorry,
after
everyone.
the show.
Yeah. Definitely take a look at that on YouTube, because that was a really, really good bite just in terms of how they are going to construct this non-conference schedule, that they are not going to be taking any games off, kind of like you said. This is not going to be a time for the Sun Devils to simply try and get their feet wet in terms of this new season. It is going to be all hands on deck, full steam ahead. Like, we are not going to be taking it light in non-conference play, because when you do get to conference play, you don't have cupcake games. You don't have Stanford anymore. You don't have Cal anymore. You don't have Oregon State. You have Texas Tech as like one of your teams, I guess, to replace that. You still have Arizona. You've got Kansas State. You've got Kansas. You got Iowa State. Like, you have a ton of just behemoths in this conference that you are going to see on a weekly basis, and you might as well prep for it at non-conference, because there's no reason to just take it easy your first couple games of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it like a couple different ways, and one of those being, okay, all this different talent, so many different pieces that aren't coming and returning. Maybe you just want a cupcake game to get them all on the same page. But in reality, if that's not the competition they're going to be facing week in, week out, there's no reason to give them a taste of something else, right? There's no reason to say, okay, Jayden Quaintance, welcome to college basketball. Here's wherever the fuck state. And like,
I wish that was a school.
That's a new one.
I wanted to change it up from Bumblefuck State, which is the one.
Arrowhead University is the go-to.
No free ads.
No free ads. But like, hey, Quaintance, here you go. And then he's like, oh wow, like this is good. Like, I'm dominant. I'm feeling great. And then you go into Big 12 play, and it's a completely different animal, right? Yeah. And then you're adjusting on the fly. I'd rather, if anything, have some closer games, or if anything, some really hard-fought losses at the beginning, so that by the time you get to Big 12 play, and by the time that you're playing the best of the best when it comes to college basketball, your young guys specifically, and guys that are transferring, I know we just talked about the talent gap and everything like that, but yes, there's going to be an adjustment going from the Missouri Valley Conference to the Big 12.
Yeah.
So getting those guys prepared and ready and hardened before you actually start conference play is a massive deal.
Just hope those tough wins or close losses aren't to Texas State, and they're to the higher opponents. One thing that I'm really excited about, and you'll hear in this bite that we have now, is the scheduling. It seems like there are some behemoths on it, just the way he's talking about it, and we'll go ahead and get to it now.
Well, we already, in our first team meeting in the summer, already discussed, bits and pieces of our non-conference schedule, which is not public yet, because we're still, finalizing things with contracts and stuff. And hopefully over the next few weeks, we could get more information to you guys about that. But we're getting after it again in the non-conference. So, we're going to go challenge ourselves and play people. And we're not going to just sit at home and try and, beat, every team we can by 40 points and have our net ranking be, the best in the country or something. We're going to go play a tough non-conference, and the Big 12 is the best basketball league in the country, in my opinion. And so the water is very deep. So we're either going to work hard and prepare for that, or we're going to be in trouble.
Love it. It's so, again, it's the awareness of it. Just knowing we need that, they need that experience. And this is one of those things that this team can really learn a lot from themselves, and fans can really learn a lot from them early in this year. And I think we'll learn a lot from them in camp. Last year we kind of thought we did, but then the roster changed, and Bobby had a comment, and you can kind of take this however you want, but we asked him about the final roster spot. And we also asked him about his son getting the final scholarship. or not the final roster, but the final scholarship. And he was excited about that, and he said he deserved it. But when I asked him about the final scholarship, I asked him, are they going to go seek it? Are they going to go try to find a guy to come in to fill that last scholarship, or is it going to remain in-house? And he said it seemed like he was pretty confident that they wouldn't.
It'd have to be a special situation.
Yeah, he said it would have to be a special situation. It would have to happen before August because he doesn't want to add anybody in September. So yeah.
He's talking about you.
Yeah. So one thing that
call me Big Hat Man.
That should be really exciting is seeing how well this roster gels over the offseason. And I know Tom brought it up. Like his comment was basically saying he wants his team to be connected before the season starts, and I think they will be. Look, there's a lot of different moving pieces, but I think all of these guys came here to do something pretty damn special. And you don't just get, guys to commit to your school that are the top 20 in the country if they don't think that you can do something with them.
Yeah.
And that comes not only personally with their brand and how they're going to succeed at the next level and their opportunity that they get here, but it also comes with the accolades that you can get at the college level. And I think this team has the chance to do some really special things. Will says in the chat, also a good mix of road games in there to get them used to hostile environments. That's going to be a big thing because this team, though it's filled with a couple guys who have experience playing a lot of basketball, it's also filled with guys that have no experience playing college basketball and guys that have no experience playing college basketball consistently in Power 5 and in the big moments. And you're not just going to, as you said, you're not just going to Cal, you're not just going to, Pullman, you're not just going to these lower high majors, you're going to the best of the best. You're going to the most hostile environments day in and day out. So I wouldn't be surprised if the non-con comes out and you have a couple Kentuckys, you have a couple Arkansas. Bobby, just don't schedule Arkansas. I don't want to schedule Arkansas. I don't want to see Arkansas.
Jayden Quaintance wants to see Arkansas.
I don't want to see Arkansas at all this year.
Why not?
Because I think they're going to be one of the best teams.
Well, you want to see him then?
Next 5 years.
You want to see him?
I'm scared of them.
Because remember when
I would rather
when Arizona State had to go play
Doug
Kansas?
Edert can go knock them off. I don't want to knock them off. That would be too stressful for me. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you see teams
Give
like
me
that.
the Razorbacks.
Yeah.
I want them.
I'd love to see USC. I'd love to see the new Must Bus. Speaking of Arkansas,
isn't there ASU's in the tournament? Is in
USC's in the
what's it called?
Yeah, it's not the Jerry Colangelo.
No, they're playing in some sort of tournament,
so they can play them. Yeah, they would play them if both the teams ended up meeting in the next round. That'd be interesting. But yeah, this non-con is going to be pretty ridiculous, I think, and we'll probably touch on what Bobby had to say more on Monday. But if you want to hear the full thing, it's going to be on our YouTube channel after the show, so make sure to go check that out on the PHNX Sports YouTube.
Imagine if I told you 5 years ago that Bobby Hurley and Arizona State, we would love to see them play against USC coached Eric Musselman's Trojans in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
you'd be like, what kind of weird fucked up Mad Lib are you?
I would quit.
Yeah. Or Calipari's Arkansas.
Razorbacks, led by John Calipari.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Look, you brought something up to me at Section 7 just in terms of kind of the state of the NCAA tournament. A lot of folks talking about a potential expansion of teams in the NCAA tournament, and we were both same page. Would hate it.
Yeah, there's been conversations about the NCAA tournament expanding 72, 76 teams, I think.
Don't do it.
They already expanded the college football playoff, which I think they went a little too far in one direction. I think 8 would have been fine. 16 is a little ridiculous to me. You're going to see a lot of blowouts. There's
12, no?
Or 12, but they're going to 16.
They're still going to be blowouts.
They're going to see 16 the year after, I think. One thing that makes college basketball so special is the upsets. So you might say, oh, Shane, there'd be more upsets. I think it would just kind of water down the NCAA tournament. What makes it so special is like everyone has a chance to make it to the tournament. Everyone has a fair chance. Win your conference tournament and you're in. But you also get the at-large bids that come in from, your 7th best team in the Big 12, your 5th best team in the Big 10, and I don't want that to turn into 6 and 9 and 10s. And this team was even in conference play, but they still made the NCAA tournament. It is the best format. The college basketball tournament is perfect. Like, don't change it.
Yeah.
The first 4 people already hate it. I'm fine with it because it's just a little bit more gross basketball to watch, and it gives the smaller teams more at large, or there's more at large bids. So the 16 seeds, there's not there's less of these lowest level college basketball teams in. I don't know if there's just nothing. There's no reason to change it.
There's no need to mess with it. Like
it's perfect.
The college football playoff. I don't think there was a need to mess with it, but you can see. Like with this much, like adding to 16 teams.
I think 8 would have been fine.
Right. Like that was needing to be tweaked. It was in the middle of being changed, and I see that they go too far. Nobody is sitting back going like, ugh, March Madness, what a drag. I wish there were more teams.
Yeah.
No. Nobody's doing that.
There were people complaining about the college football playoff, and I get that. I like 12. I think 12 is a solid number. Obviously, we'll get a sample of it this year to kind of see what it looks like.
So who's the 12th best team?
The 12th best team in the nation.
Who would have made it as the 12th best team?
I don't know. You'd have to look at the end of the season. It might have been U of A, to be honest with you. But still, I think it's going to be fun to watch these teams compete in the postseason against other really, really talented college football teams. And I know we're getting a little off track with it, but like again, these are
12 was LSU, U of A was 11.
So 12 against it would be 4 in that format, right? Or 5?
I think it'd be 5 because the first 4
Alabama.
buys. LSU and Bama, let's go ahead. Give me another game. Why not? Give me another one. I'm here for it, man.
Who's 10?
I'm absolutely here for it.
Ohio State,
9.
Ole Miss,
Just keep going down.
Missouri, Florida State, Oregon,
Miss. That'd be fun.
Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Washington, Michigan.
Okay. I'm on your side a little bit.
Thank you. Again, don't get me wrong. I still think the SEC and some teams in the Big Ten are going to really, really dominate the early rounds of the college football playoff. But again, get that experience. It allows some of these college athletes a different level of college football experience. But getting back to the NCAA tournament, I don't see anybody complaining about the number of teams and the format of the NCAA tournament as it stands right now. I can get it a little bit more from a smaller school's perspective of being like, let's add more teams in, because if we get in, you get money for advancing round over round. So I understand why from a university perspective, there would be the idea of, it gives us more opportunity for money.
Look, money, yay, woo.
Yeah, exactly.
As I always say, if you do something for money, it's going to work out. It's usually a good thing.
We're clipping that. That's getting clipped for sure.
It's a good thing.
I was being sarcastic for those of you who don't know. Speaking of college football and rankings, Kyler Murray did a ranking.
He did.
A blind ranking of his top 10 schools on TikTok of where he would go to play as a 5-star quarterback to redo his college career. ASU came up and he ranked them 4.
Yeah, he ranked them 4 on that list.
Above Penn State, Iowa, UCLA, Maryland.
Yeah, I mean the depth chart would definitely go Jeff Sims and then Kyler.
He's gonna have a year of eligibility.
He said, "Quote what like, ooh, 5-star quarterback, go change the program."
Yeah.
If you come on.
I see all the Arizona Cardinals are doing a bunch of TikTok things right now. I sent one in Slack earlier about Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, doesn't like hummus.
Doesn't like hummus. Doesn't know what tzatziki goes on.
Like
he might not be. He might not be generational
guac
anymore.
No,
guac.
Yeah, it was the wrong pick. Shouldn't have held the line.
Oh, I want some guac so bad.
Dude,
right
guac
now.
hits.
Guac does hit.
Guac is hot.
I don't trust anybody that doesn't like guacamole.
Yeah.
But
before we get to hot or not.
Frank Kush, coach of the year, none other than JJ Van Niel.
Let's go.
The ASU women's volleyball coach. He was in his first season this past year. I know, Eric, you got to help him out here.
Thank you.
And he did a phenomenal job this season in his first year for Arizona State women's volleyball, having a hell of a run in the NCAA tournament, an amazing regular season. I had the chance to catch up with JJ right before the NCAA tournament. And that dude is just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to college athletics.
Dialed.
And he is, certainly expect this team back in the NCAA tournament and to make a run even further. But this is, if you're an Arizona State coach, this is the best award that you could possibly win to be recognized as the Frank Kush Coach of the Year.
Yeah, especially so early, in your career here. And I would highly encourage people. It's like a 16-minute conversation that you had with Coach Van Niel that's up on our YouTube channel still. You can just search the name. It'll come up. It's actually the first thing that comes up when you Google JJ Van Niel's name is that. So highly encourage people to go listen to that. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit outdated. It was back in November, but really good stuff and inside the mind of an up-and-coming coach here.
Yeah, Frank Kush Award is hot, and so is this next segment that we do every single Friday. Leah, are you ready Back on Hot or Not.
Land development, hot or not?
I was about to say canceling a land auction with less than a week notice.
This
hot
is
or
the
not?
ASU show, Leo.
Okay. All right. Well, do I still give hot or not to someone in the office?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Well, it's usually just us three.
Yeah, I mean, it
could be really anybody.
When it was
I
just
thought
me
Danielle
on this
was,
show
like,
for a
giving
while,
awards.
yeah, I was
it
like,
was just you.
yeah, I was
Okay,
like,
yeah,
who's been hot in the office this week, and then who's been ugly?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Danielle said ugly one time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I forget who she called ugly though.
I'm glad I wasn't here.
Yeah. So who's hot and who's ugly?
Okay, I'm not doing that. First hot or not topic.
Yeah.
Red eye flights.
Ooh.
So we just took one. We landed yesterday at 6 a.m. I've never. So I took a nap when I went home. When I woke up, I've never felt that bad. Like,
Yeah.
it was the worst feeling ever. It was
Yeah.
terrible. But then I showered and everything was okay. I think I'm a big fan of getting stuff over with. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a morning person. I like.
You rip Band-Aids off?
Yeah. Just,
Yeah. Yeah.
I jump in pools when it's cold.
You're a psychopath.
The ocean,
Yeah.
you're like waiting. Everyone's like, ooh, no, I'm diving. I'm dolphin diving under a wave.
Yeah.
I say it's hot because you time travel, and that's awesome.
Travel. That's definitely one way to look at it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say it's hot, especially because I can sleep on flights. So for me, it's like I'm there, and it's just like a normal night's rest for me. I don't take red eye flights often.
I
though.
can't sleep on planes, though.
No?
That's one thing that sucks about them.
Not even if you have like a window seat.
It helps me a little bit, but I'm so on and off. Like I wake up every 45
Are
minutes.
you a neck pillow guy?
I literally just bought one,
Yeah.
and I hated it.
Really?
Hated it.
Not
Awful.
hot. It's tough.
Awful. Not hot. Neck pillows not hot.
Wow. I'll take it off your hands,
No, I'm keeping it. It's memory foam. It's kind of nice.
dude. You just said you hated it.
I do. But I'm gonna use it like I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna be the like avant-garde neck pillow guy who's like not using it as a neck pillow. He's like sleeping on it like this.
Like go out to the bar with a neck pillow on.
No, not a fashion statement. I'm still gonna use it on
Oh
planes.
no. I'm not saying it's as a fashion statement. Like you go out to the bar, you don't get a seat. Like you're just like put the head back a little bit.
I think I got a bad one because I can't do this.
That's
it just
tough.
like supports my neck. So I'm just like this.
Just helps your posture. Is that
Yeah,
it?
it's just a posture pillow.
Wow. It's a
PP,
posture pillow.
A PP, if you will.
Yeah. Okay.
Eric, what do you think?
I'm torn because I mean, as established, I'm a terrible sleeper. It's one of my worst
Yeah.
qualities. I just can't sleep.
Figure it out.
But
go to bed.
Listen,
Yeah. Have you thought about just sleeping?
buddy? Thought about it a lot.
Don't buddy me, pal.
Thought about it a lot. Just doesn't work like that. I wish it did. I'm gonna say they're hot because I'm with Shane where I want to just get stuff over with and be efficient. And usually, if you're taking a red eye, sometimes it's because of inconvenience, but other times it's because it's necessity. And so I say roll with it. We'll call them hot, but it's by a thin margin for me.
Aptly named on the red eye flight.
Yes,
Dude, I want to get some out there. So you know how every single
Why are you
week,
you're very confrontational right now.
well, Eric kind of pissed me off, man.
Oh.
No, I'm just fucking. You didn't really
what the
piss
fuck
me
did I
off.
do?
It's not that deep. So every week we put in what we're gonna vote on what we're gonna draft in the snake draft. We put it in Discord, and I put aptly named things.
Yep.
And I don't know if Eric I don't know if Eric didn't have his glasses on or something, but he said that was a stupid topic. And it just said
one of the
named
greatest.
things.
So I have so many times gone on tangents on the show where I just derail a conversation. We talk about aptly named things, pillows, anything with an O sound,
Yeah.
marshmallows.
Yeah, marshmallow. I think
mud.
No,
I think rock.
Rock's a great
good
one.
one.
Rock's a
See,
great
it's
one.
so fun.
listen. Okay, so to defend myself, I only read when you put the two options and you just put my thing, which is a heist team, and then your thing, it just said named things. And I'm like, named things?
Yeah.
Everything's named. You're just picking things.
But in the
And I thought
description.
that was, right, which I didn't read.
Yeah.
And then I went back and I read the description.
Use your error.
Yeah, which I'm not
So
denying.
hand up, my bad.
That's literally what I'm
Okay.
saying right now.
Yeah.
And I went
Well, I
back
didn't
and I
hear an
read
apology.
it. I said
Yeah.
aptly named things, and I'm deeply, profoundly
There we go.
apologetic
There we go.
Yeah, that's huge.
about my stupidity
that's-
and my
yeah.
lack of thoroughness in reading your Discord.
I would
Yeah.
also like to
Yeah.
apologize for something. Chat, you are hot this week. There you go.
Chat is
Chat
hot
is
Sorry.
hot.
this week.
Chat's hot every
Only if
day.
you're watching on YouTube though.
Well,
Yeah.
no, if you're listening on audio, you're hot too.
Yeah.
Or yeah. Or if
Yeah.
you're
If
listening
you're
Come
watching on Twitter too,
on.
real fast, you're hot too. Just give us a like on YouTube.
Yeah, do that.
Come over.
Yeah,
Come hang out.
do that. What's topic number 2, Leah?
All right, topic number 2, hot or not, bubble gum. Not chewing gum, bubble gum.
What is the difference?
Bubble gum is like
Like Hubba Bubba?
bubble gum flavored, like the pink,
Oh, so it's a flavor.
but like
Is it a flavor?
It's hot once a year. And then I don't want to see it until the next year.
Is bubblegum a flavor or is it?
Yeah, no, like the normal, just straight up bubblegum flavor.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally whatever. It just tastes like made in a factory. It's like,
that's fair.
I'm out.
You're out on bubblegum?
Not hot. I'm not a big gum guy in general. The texture really throws me off. Just don't love gum.
Oh, you're a texture guy.
Damn, everybody's looking at me weird for that.
Well, that's I've never heard in 26 of walking the earth. I've never heard somebody say that the texture of gum is
the texture of gum is a weird one that you don't like. I understand the texture I'm a big texture guy.
Do you eat jerky?
Jerky and gum are very different.
No, but again, we're talking textures here.
Yeah, I'll eat jerky.
What about the gum texture? You don't like how smooth it is?
Slimy.
How it adapts? It's
slimy. What gum do you buy?
That sounds like user error. Are you just like slobbering in your mouth?
I just don't like the way the gum feels in my mouth.
He's outside of like the grocery stores and he's just getting the gum balls. What'd he say?
I don't like the way the gum feels.
Okay, not hot. Move on.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
That was
Will in the chat. What the fuck is this convo?
I don't know, man.
It's Friday. That's what this is.
I think that comment came in during the
aptly named things.
Okay.
Conversation underrated. Well-named thing.
Conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Conversation sounds like a conversation.
Dude, I want to draft aptly named things.
We can.
Okay.
Either that or fish.
All right.
Dude,
final topic.
Fish without you.
Are you?
Seriously. He was. It was
a joke.
You gotta shoot.
Bro. It was a joke.
Okay.
That's crazy.
He brought multiple times. He was like, I want to submit fish. I'm like,
he wanted to.
Like, we can't submit fish.
I think he wanted to.
So soft.
I think he wanted to.
So soft.
All right. Last topic.
What's your favorite gum flavor?
Oh my gosh.
Next topic.
Hot or not? Jorts.
Hot. They're comfortable. They're cool. They're silly. They're different. It's a change of pace back of shorts.
It is a change of pace back of shorts. That's crazy.
They're hot.
It's a utility guy for sure.
Yeah.
I have one pair of jorts.
So do I. You should only have one pair of jorts.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. If you have two pairs of jorts,
too many.
Back off.
Max looks like he's a guy who owns jorts for sure.
Yeah. Well, Max has some really nice thighs.
And that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. So if you don't skip leg day. That's not weird. If you don't skip leg day and you have if you have thunder thighs, if your name's like Saquon Barkley and you just have
just looking at my...
Yeah, dude, that's a big ass thigh right there, man.
I got some good ones.
That shit right there, that would look good in a jort.
These are called? These are called stompers.
Yeah.
Got some big stompers.
Yeah. If you got the legs for jorts, it's awesome. But if you have chicken legs, jorts aren't your thing. You just look weird. So
I'm afraid to give my answer now.
Well, you're wearing shorts right now.
I mean, I like shorts. Shorts are hot. I'm not a jorts guy. I'm not. I'm sorry.
So you're not a gum guy. You're not a jorts guy. You're not a. What was the first topic?
I was fine with red eyes. I was fine.
Red eye.
I'm not a sleep guy. I love sleep, but I just can't get it.
Figured it out.
I think we should just turn my mic off and just.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna sit back.
Lindsay,
you suck today.
Lindsay,
damn.
Wow.
Damn.
Lindsay is up. Whoa.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Talk about the jorts. No.
Okay. I think a camera died.
Yeah. All right.
My takes were so bad, the camera died.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, you close this out then.
All right, well, that'll do it for another exciting edition of PHNX Sun Devils. Guys, if you want to follow the show, go ahead and do it at PHNX_Sun Devils. On Twitter, you can follow Anthony Totri at Anthony Totri. On Twitter, you can follow Shane
Anthony_Totri.
I'm sorry.
This guy's a fucking rookie.
No, get over here.
This guy's a rookie.
Guys, it's been a pleasure. As always, you can follow Eric on Twitter at Erik Ruby. That's Eric with a K.
Underscore.
No, there's not. I know there's not. Only if he's behaving, though. So right now, you can't follow him. We've taken his follow button away. You can follow Totri on Twitter. You can come into the chat real fast at Anthony_Totri. You can follow producer Leah on Twitter at Leah Merrill. And you can follow me on Twitter at Shane Dief. Loving our conversations with Coach Bobby Hurley, as always. And we'll see you next week. Have a safe and fun weekend. And yeah, until then, go Devils and peace.
We all silly like the mayor.